We start the week with a tough headline. A shooting on the grounds of the University of Virginia. Students ordered to shelter in place as police search for the suspected shooter.
So this is who they're looking for. Christopher Darnell Jones. Detectives say he may be behind gunshots fired late Sunday night near campus. Information still rolling in this morning.
The first reports came in just after 10:30 last night. The UVA Police Department sent out an alert about shots fired at Colbreth Garage on Colbreth Road, not far from the lawn on the campus grounds.
And we have team coverage this morning as the situation develops. Casey Baylor joins us in the studio to separate fiction from fact. But we begin now with Alex Littlehales.
He is in Charlottesville right now. So, Alex, what's the situation on the ground?
Hey, Dan. Hey, Ashley. We just arrived here on the grounds of the University of Virginia, but it is a night and it's a morning without much sleep here in Charlottesville because authorities have told UVA students and Charlottesville residents to stay inside because they are currently searching for a apparent suspect who they say may be behind a, quote, active shooting situation here at the University of Virginia. Again, you mentioned his name, Christopher Darnell Jones. Just wanted to set the scene. We are just on the outside of the police perimeter here on Colbreth Road, right at the heart of UVA's campus. We still have not heard an official word yet on the status of possible victims right now, but the focus is on finding Jones. Here's what we know. Just before 11 o'clock Sunday evening, there were reports of gunshots at the parking garage here on Colbreth Road, here again at the center of UVA's campus. And authorities later identified that suspect as Jones, who, according to some archived pages from the University of Virginia's athletic pages, may have been a football player at UVA based on a football roster dated from 2018. But again, 5 hours later, after those initial gunshots were reported, still no word yet on whether Jones has been found by authorities. We also know that there are a lot of agencies working on this case right now, including the Virginia State Police, as well as helicopter searches. Again, as of this time, police officers still looking for Jones. And just want to reiterate, there was a lot of misinformation out there on social media about this situation, but we're tracking that throughout the morning. Live in Charlottesville, I'm Alex Littlehales for 13 News Now.
Yeah, Alex, thanks. You know, we'll be checking in with you again here shortly. He mentioned that misinformation, and that's why we have Casey Baylor standing by. Casey, you're helping us sort through that, the rumors that we're seeing online versus what we know is fact. What are you learning?
Yeah, Dan, when something like this happens, we know rumors and misinformation spread quickly online, and that's when the Verify team steps in. Now, shortly after word of the shooting got out, there was some speculation that another man was behind it. So far, though, we can confirm that Charlottesville police are just searching for one suspect, Christopher Darnell Jones. Now, another question a lot of people are waking up and asking, the number of victims and their conditions. So far, there's no official word on that, and we have reached out to get some more answers for you all this morning. Something else that's caught people's attention when police, I should say, released one of the photos of the suspects. One of the pictures looked similar to those the university takes of student athletes, and a lot of people tied that back to the UVA football team. We did find an archived 2018 roster with the same image showing the suspect played for UVA back in 2018. Dan, Ashley.
All right, and we are just getting word from the university that we can now confirm 3 people have died in this shooting and 2 additional victims are hurt. That word coming from the university president.
And we'll have the very latest, of course, as it comes into the newsroom. But right now, of course, many taking to social media to remind everyone in the area to take this situation, of course, very seriously.
2 major updates here just within the last half hour. Halfway through a news conference with law enforcement officials and university leaders, authorities announced that they had arrested Chris Jones, and he was in custody roughly 12 hours after he allegedly shot 5 UVA students in the center grounds of the university. We also learned the names. We confirmed the identities of those 3 victims. They are Deshaun Perry, Lavelle Davis, and Devin Chandler. Again, all 3 victims, confirming officially, are UVA football players. We also learned a little bit more about the shooting itself. Apparently, law enforcement officials say Jones fired into a crowded bus of about 25 UVA students as they were on their way back from Washington, D.C. to see a play. but police say it's still unclear the exact details that led Jones to firing into that crowded bus. But we do know that Jones now faces 3 charges of second-degree murder, as well as 3 other firearms charges for this alleged crime. We also learned earlier this school year, this semester actually, apparently there had been some red flags raised over Jones because he had made some comments about owning a gun, and that had tipped off some red flags to the school's threat assessment team. But as we mentioned, that 12-hour manhunt is over. Here is that emotional moment when authorities finally revealed that he had been taken into custody.
We just received information the suspect is in custody. Just need a moment to thank God. Breathe a sigh of relief.
So authorities did not say where they found Jones, but they did clarify that he was not found on the grounds of University of Virginia. Live in Charlottesville, I'm Alex Littlehales for 13 News Now.
There were lives lost and families changed forever.
Monday morning, Governor Glenn Youngkin started his speech in Norfolk with prayer.
We ask you to wrap your hedge of protection around these families and these children.
The victims of the UVA shooting and their families are top of mind for Youngkin.
It's just awful, and our hearts are breaking this morning. There's still a lot yet to unfold.
Youngkin says he's been in contact with university officials overnight as they investigate what happened.
We have sent every resource at the state's disposal. The law enforcement community there has been extraordinary. The healthcare community has been extraordinary.
As information continues to unfold, he's asking the UVA community to follow safety protocols coming from authorities.
Let's let the hospital workers do their job with those folks that whose lives they're trying to save, and let law enforcement do their job.
3 people died. Devin Chandler, Deshaun Perry, and Lavelle Davis Jr. all played on the school's football team. Now students, staff, and administrators in Charlottesville and people here at home are trying to come to terms with this tragedy.
Yeah, the university president says a school-wide vigil is in the works, and the school set up a center to offer counseling services. 13 News Now has live team coverage tonight. We'll look into who the victims are, how they're being remembered, and we'll hear from Governor Glenn Youngkin addressing the tragedy. We're going to start with Allison Basil, who is live in Charlottesville right now. Allison, a tough day for the community there.
Philip, many students tell me they are shocked that this shooting happened on campus grounds. About 2 hours ago, authorities did clear the shooting scene here by Cold Breath Garage. They say around 10:30 last night that the shooting happened. They say it happened here on a charter bus, and we did see a charter bus get towed away from right behind me out back here, and we saw a bullet hole in the window of that bus. Now, in a press conference today, we learned the shooting happened after a group of students came back from a Washington, D.C. field trip last night to see a play. Police say the suspect is Christopher Jones. Henrico County police officers arrested him about 12 hours after the shooting. UVA President Tim Ryan announced football players Devin Chandler, Deshaun Perry, and Lavelle Davis Jr. are the 3 victims who died, and he says 2 others are injured. One of them is in critical condition. Now, Ryan says he believes Jones was on the football team at one time. For about 12 hours, UVA authorities asked students to shelter in place, and some students tell me they got that alert in their dorms, while others had to hunker down in buildings on the grounds like the library.
But it was certainly an interesting scenario. You know, people were kind of all across the board. Some people were sleeping, some people continued to try to study, some people were, everybody was calling and texting their loved ones and making sure that everybody was fine. But I don't know, I think people more or less came together and kind of tried to wait it out as best they could.
There really are no words to describe the senselessness of this situation. There's no words to console the family, friends, teammates, and coaches of the 3 UVA football players murdered last night. Now, in college sports in particular, when a player and their family decide where to go off to school, the coaches and the staff take on that role of guidance and care. And just 2 months ago, Ricky Ronnie and the ODU Monarchs played UVA in Charlottesville. Lavelle Davis had 2 catches for 47 yards. Deshaun Perry had 4 tackles. Just 2 months ago, those two and Devin Chandler had everything in front of them. That lost future was on Ronnie's mind today.
You know, college football is still a close-knit fraternity, and you know, we played against these guys, you know, and so they had interactions with these players, and it's hard for me, so I'm sure it's hard for everybody to be able to think that, you know, 8 short weeks ago we were out there competing against these people, and now their futures and their lives are gone.
Yeah, Coach Ronnie said that typically he does not meet with the team on Mondays, but they just happened to have a meeting scheduled today. He was thankful just to see his guys and let them get their emotions out. Philip, Janet, back to you.
Earlier tonight, hundreds of students filled the South Lawn to honor the victims. But even though that lawn was packed with grieving students, teachers, and community members, it was so quiet you could hear a pin drop.
It's truly shocking.
Kind of numb.
It's scary. The University of Virginia community is shaken. 3 of their fellow students dead. 2 others remain in the hospital. The morning began with houses around campus showing their support, with signs flying the football players' numbers. As the sun set on a heartbreaking day here in Charlottesville, the community took to prayer.
For the young people who were killed, Devin, Lavelle, and Deshaun, for those who were wounded and hospitalized, for the many who are traumatized, for grieving survivors, and those known to you alone, loving God.
Pews were packed at St. Paul's Memorial Church, just down the street from where the students were shot.
Those left alone and grieving, and those who struggle to get through one more day.
Then students took to the South Lawn. Hundreds lit candles, the silence making the pain and grief so clear.
Well, the tragedy is sparking emotions of heartache, sadness, and reflections on social media. Family, friends, and people across the country are sending their prayers online, and their words are allowing us to know more about the 3 UVA football players on and off the field. Devin Chandler, Deshaun Perry, and Lavelle Davis Jr. are gone too soon. Many UVA football players are taking to social media saying their hearts are broken over the loss of 3 of their brothers.
It's just heartbreaking.
Today, teammate Aaron Famui was at the crime scene devastated.
I see 3 young boys. They had a whole future ahead of them. Just to see them gone. This is just heartbreaking.
Other players wrote they were great players and even better great men off the field. A UVA professor, Jack Hamilton, expressed the first time he met Lavelle Davis Jr. and Devin Chandler, calling them wonderful people. In a tweet, he said that he helped Devin declare an American Studies major, and he always had a huge smile, really gregarious and funny. One of those people who's just impossible not to like. Hamilton also said Lavelle Davis Jr. seemed to go out of his way to make friends with non-athletes. Chandler's former high school football coach in North Carolina also spoke about his former player.
He was going to be a leader in whatever he chose to do, in whatever field he wanted to work in. And unfortunately, the world lost a good one.
Banners of the 3 players' jersey numbers are up on the UVA grounds and are being shared now on social media. 1, 15, 41. But they are more than numbers. They are family, students, and loved ones who had bright futures. Here at home, Christopher Newport University is also showing support for UVA. Tonight, several students met in front of their campus holding a candlelight vigil of their own with the caption, "Captains for Whos." And Governor Glenn Youngkin has ordered flags to be flown at half-staff throughout the Commonwealth starting tomorrow. Angelo Vargas, 13 News Now.